Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I am doing my August reading predictions. So again, sort of like a TBR, but in my own mind, it's less definite. This is me trying to predict what I will be in the mood to read in August. So the first book that I have for my reading predictions in August is Searcy by Madeline Miller. This is not much of a prediction because I'm already reading this, so this one's going to get read in August. These are just true facts. But this is a retelling of the myth of Searcy, or Searcy is a character that doesn't necessarily have her own myth, but she shows up in Greek mythology in many different instances. And so Madeline Miller, I never know if it's Madeline or Madeline, but Madeline Miller weaves together these different little bits and pieces of Searcy's life into a single story, a narrative, and creates this character. And so this is one that I've been really excited to read because I have, one, heard great things about it, and two, I love retellings. I love Greek mythology, so this sounds like it's going to be really great. Also, I wanted to read it because, like, without any influence from me, my dad actually read this book recently and was raving about it. He was reading it while we were on vacation at the end of July and was just like telling me about it as much as he could without spoilers, and was just like, this is so amazing, it does so many cool things, and he was so excited that it made me way more excited to read it. And also he was like, you need to read this book now so we can talk about it. So I'm reading it so that I can talk to him about it. My mom is also reading this book, so we're gonna have a little book club. Next up in August, I have Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is one that was in my most recent book haul that I hauled for June and July, and it was one of my most anticipated books of the year. I'm very excited about reading this. It is a own voices, Navajo-inspired, post-apocalyptic urban fantasy. It's a lot of things, but it takes place in North America after a huge apocalypse or a flood has just devastated everything and has unleashed monsters and gods from Navajo legend. And our main character, Maggie, is a monster hunter. And I think there is also maybe a mystery element to this story. I just am really excited about this. Next up, I have Kindred by Octavia Butler. This is my 70s book for my Science Fiction Through the Decades reading challenge, because I finally finished Stranger in a Strange Land, because that book took me forever to read. But this one is for the 70s, as I said, and I am really interested to see what I think. I've only read one other Octavia Butler book, but it wasn't a very popular one by her. It was Wild Seed, which I think is not one of her more well-known books, and Kindred, I think, is her most well-known, or one of her two most well-known stories, and is apparently a very influential book in science fiction. Kindred follows our main character Dana, or it's D-A-N-A, so is it Dana? Donna? I don't know how to say that, but it follows our main character Dana, who is a black woman in the 70s in California, when she suddenly starts to time travel, and she doesn't have control over when or where she time travels, and she keeps time traveling back to antebellum Maryland and interacting with this one white boy and saving his life at different points throughout his life. So this book sounds like it is going to be kind of a heavier book that may be a little bit harder to read, but it's going to be really good also. I've heard really great things about it, and I'm really, really excited. Also because in my Science Fiction Through the Decades challenge, this will be my first female author in science fiction. So I am really looking forward to that. And also this one, since I have read an Octavia Butler book before, I feel like I have a little bit more of an idea what to expect going into this one versus the other books that I've been reading for this challenge. So I'm very intrigued to see what this one is like. And next I have The Accident Season by Moira Fowley-Doyle. This is another one that I very recently hauled. I got this because earlier this year I read Spellbook of the Lost and Found, also by Moira Fowley-Doyle, and I loved it, so I wanted to read more of her books, but this is the only other book that she has out as far as I know. So I got this. And this one follows a family that every year around October, I think, they become incredibly accident prone. And sometimes it's very serious accidents and sometimes it's very benign accidents. But they just kind of accept this and try to like hold themselves up and like make it as, you know, minimal as possible. But then our main character starts to kind of ask some questions about why this happens to her family every year. But asking those questions seems to start to make things worse for them. So this is one that I don't know if I would have picked it up if I hadn't read something else by this author, because I don't know if that like premise is one that really grabs me or not. But I know that I loved another book by her, so I really want to read this as well. I loved her writing so much that I'm trusting that this is going to be really good. And finally, if I have extra time, I want to start Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. So in June and July, I read Ship of Magic, which is the first book in her Live Ship Traders trilogy. This is the second book in the same trilogy and continues the story of Althea as she has to work against pirates and her own family and slave traders, and she just wants her own live ship. Her family has a magical ship called a live ship, which has its own sentience, and they're very valuable ships, and Althea wanted to inherit it, but her family prevented that from happening, and that's really what starts Althea off on her adventure as she tries to find a way to get back this live ship. And there are lots of obstacles in her way, so I am really interested to see what happens in the rest of this story, and I'm hoping I can at least start this in August. It is like 900 and something pages, so I don't think that I'm going to be able to finish this in August unless I was just reading it the entire month, but I'm gonna probably start it towards the end of August if I have time, and then hopefully finish it in September. I had a really good reading month in July, so I'm hoping that energy will just like keep going into August and I will just read all the books. So that is all for my August reading predictions. Let me know in the comments what are some books that you want to read this month. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!